Hello and welcome back. I'm Dr. Nicola and this is Aspen Talks Health. Today I'm joined by Kathy Flanigan. She is the owner of Pura Simple and we are going to talk about natural solutions for managing aging skin. Welcome.
Hi.
Thank you for being on the show.
It's nice to be here.
Good. So tell us your story. How did you get into this business? You produce a beautiful skincare line. How did this all begin for you?
The idea came to me, which was wonderful. It's not something that I searched for. I loved chemistry in high school, but I never thought that I would actually be doing chemistry, taking out that chem lab coat and using it. And I was with a friend, and I noticed he's older, and he would like a hug. And so the idea got me thinking. I saw both my parents through, and the people who are older often need touch, whether it be a peck on the cheek, a dance, a hug, a handshake, a pat on the back. And I realized that I could help with that. I thought, what gets in the way of that? And a lot of aging signs often get in the way of that. It can be something as unseeable as how someone feels about themselves, which often will manifest in other ways. But then there are signs that show that people are older, which can set up this dynamic of avoiding them. And some of those things could be aging skin, where there's wrinkles or crepiness or dryness, sagginess, less elasticity in the face, less collagen, which the face will not be as full and won't hold as much moisture, so they look dehydrated. There is an unpleasant odor that can come upon some people who are older through the diet and through stress in their life as they get older. There's itchiness, there's dryness, there's a host of things that the person themselves will move away out of self-consciousness from contact with other people. And then other people will perhaps not give them as much attention because they have that older look, that neediness that comes out. And the neediness doesn't happen right away. It's one of these things that over time develops. So if someone's self-conscious and then they are not engaging with other people, and then they have some things that are a little unsightly, such as they bruise easily. Skin gets very thin as they get older because, again, the collagen's not built up. They lose their moisture barrier. And so they will bruise easily, and that's unsightly, and people aren't familiar with that. People avoid things that they're not familiar with. And so then a person that's accustomed to social interaction, friends, if they start backing off and then people around them start backing off because they have a certain scent or they have a certain, they're more shriveled or they're bruising, anything like that, then this person doesn't get what they're accustomed to, and they develop a need for touch. And then if that a further development from that is they don't get that and they become needy. And if they become needy, that's even going to set up that dynamic even more. So I thought that I could come along and have some sort of intervention, and I could do it through a body wash. And so I started thinking about the body wash. I looked into it. There is this substance called persimmon, and it's a natural deodorant. It comes in extract form. You can get it in Japan. So I contacted Japan, and I got a sample of it in liquid form, which I thought was the form that I would need for some of these formulations. And there was a byproduct that I couldn't accept that helped stabilize the persimmon. And so I thought, well, I have to find another way or this idea just goes by the wayside. And fortunately, I found essential oils. And that took me down a whole new adventure. And I discovered how wondrous these essential oils are. They're very potent. You only need small amounts. Synergistically, they work well. If you combine them with carrier oils that take it deeper into the skin, the benefits are all the greater. I went from the body wash to moisturizing creams that pair with the body wash, to developing relief creams, and then even a facial cream. So it's been quite fun. It's been exciting, and I still am growing in it, but it's been very exciting.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you and commend you for being strict about the preservatives, because they can be toxic.
Yes.
To the system.
Yes.
And so many lotions out there have so many preservatives in them.
Yes.
That are not healthy for our bodies.
No, these are these are very basic, clean, effective, pleasurable, and I'm hoping affordable.
Yeah.
I want it to be just second nature, that someone says, I can afford that, I'm going to do it, or I'm going to stretch, but only stretch a little. I want people on fixed incomes to be able to afford it. And they are water-based, so they do have some preservative, but it is a fraction of what could be in there. And it does extend the life of the product, so it behooves someone, and they're FDA approved, and it's predominantly clean.
Nice. And you have the body wash specifically, helps with the odor.
It helps with the odor, but it also helps. It's moisturizing, it's nourishing, it does deodorize, and it helps just deeply clean.
Okay.
And so what I have two main essential oils. There's lime essential oil, which does happen to be a deodorizer, and it's a deep cleaner. And it's also a tonifier and a detoxifier. These essential oils will do double and triple duty. And it smells nice. And then I paired it with, well, what also smells nice? What can handle some of the astringency? Because lime is effective, so you don't want to strip your skin totally. So what can I add back in to make it more hydrating and also nourishing? And what I added back in was jojoba oil, which matches our natural oils, so it helps control our oil content. So if we don't have any, it will give us some, but if we have too much, it takes out excess. So it's quite nice in that way. And then the sandalwood is hydrating. For mature skin or any kind of skin, it's a mild astringent, but it is, and it helps with wound healing, but it's hydrating. And so that moisturizing is what I was looking for. And the two together are quite nice.
Sandalwood and lime and jojoba.
Jojoba. Those are the main ones. It's mostly aloe and glycerin, organic aloe and glycerin, but in terms of those essential ingredients and carrier oils, those are the ones that are in there.
Wonderful. So you mentioned some other formulas that you've come up with, the facial lotions. Can you talk about those?
The facial oils.
Your skin looks phenomenal, by the way. I have to cut you off.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
fantastic.
Well, I've been on my own personal journey as far as how to deal with my own aging, but what I came up with was I loved sandalwood and lavender together, and they both happen to be anti-inflammatory and soothing and calming, and so I wanted to put them together, and I put them together with frankincense, which is a natural astringent, which is wonderful for helping to bring some strength back to the folds in our skin. And so the three smell together quite nicely. And I know it's not a magical potion. None of these are going to cure everything and anything in one fell swoop. It's something that complements. It either complements your own routine, or it supplements what you're already doing that's healthy for you. And there's nothing that's better than having an anti-inflammatory diet, drinking water, getting your exercise, lowering your stress. Stress acidifies the body. It's just crazy. And so is sugar. Sugar is acidic. It makes our immune system vulnerable so that free radicals can come in and have a heyday. So you really want to do those other things in addition. But what's nice about I call it grace. And I call it grace because it helps soften imperfections. It helps someone go from that transition between I want to look my best, I have looked my best, and the reality that there's wear and tear on our bodies, and that's going to show up in the face or on our skin. So I wanted to help with that transition and just soften imperfections, allow people to come into a more acceptance about themselves.
Yeah, beautiful. The sugar being acidic, the refined sugar, I would say, is acidic.
Correct.
Not fruits, but refined. Yeah, I think that's what you're probably referring to.
Sure.
And also high protein diet, where we're told you need so much protein, and it's actually protein, amino acid, breaks down to, so it's an acidic ingredient. So that actually needs to be lowered, not so high.
Exactly, and each body is different, each journey is different. I come from a background where I grew up in a coastal town, always at the beach, at a time where you didn't wear enough sunscreen. I taught tennis outdoors for 10 years. I've lived in the mountains, I've lived in Florida. My skin's probably undergone a lot of insult. And as you get older, those things present themselves. And you're not ready to hang up, the towel. You want to do what you can. And then you move into another place where, well, I'm doing what I can, and I've done well, but I'd like to do better, but this is as good as it's going to be. And so you just come to more acceptance, and then you let it go. And then when you let it go, all good things happen when you can let go of that kind of aspect of yourself.
Right, right. Yeah, interesting. I haven't heard that stress causes acidity. I mean, it makes perfect sense to me. But
it sets off a chain reaction. I'm not a doctor, and I'm not a biologist, but from what I've come across in reading, and cortisone can, when your cortisone levels go up, then it just sets off a chain reaction.
Yeah, makes sense. Talk to us about the base oils. You said, I have always heard of it as jojoba. It's jojoba.
It is jojoba.
Okay. Yeah. Jojoba, almond oil, and coconut. Why do you use each one of those?
Well, again, some of these essential oils have astringent properties. And that can tone, but it can also dry. So I want to add in the other oils because they're so moisturizing and they're so hydrating, and they deliver the essential oils deeper into the skin so that they can do more good. And the jojoba it's just really wonderful. It matches the natural oils in our skin. If you don't create that, your body doesn't produce that as much anymore, it can act as a substitute for that. It also doesn't clog pores because it's so much like the sebum in our skin that if it's there, then it's going to take care of the excess. So it's cleansing. And if we don't have natural oils to increase the moisture barrier of our skin, then it creates a moisture barrier so that water can be trapped underneath and we can stay hydrated by having this layer of jojoba. It has vitamins E and iodine and B complex, which are just antioxidants, so it's anti-inflammatory. It's an all-around very nice oil, and it's more of a surface oil. Then you get to the almond oil, which is very light molecular weight, penetrates deep into the skin. It is also a wonderful carrier oil for some of the essential oils. And it has omega-3, so that's anti-inflammatory, and it's just a lovely, lovely softener. It does tend to not be as stable as a jojoba, but jojoba essentially doesn't go bad, so the jojoba can counter the shorter shelf life of the almond oil. So the two of them together both will help with the outer parts of our layers of our skin, and then the almond can go deeper, and the coconut goes deeper. Coconut is also a light oil. It will go deeper into the skin. It has lauric acid, so it's antimicrobial and anti-inflammatory. So they're just nice. Now some people get a little dried from coconut oil, but some people don't. And so it's up to the person to determine for themselves how much of it they can take. Now there's a healthy dose of these oils in the formulas, but it's not abundant. And they're water-based and oil-based, so it's hydrating, and then you have everything that keeps it all together.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wonderful. You also have a relief product. And how does it soften the hands? Because I've been using it, your relief, and it's really made a difference. My hands have been so dry since I moved to Colorado, especially.
Yes.
And it's working.
Good.
So what is in there that's working?
Well, part of it is the water, but it's also the oil that helps, the oils, the combination of oils plus the essential oils. And when I developed the relief cream, a friend of mine's a potter, and she said, is there anything that you can make for us that are constantly dipping our hands into this clay material, this earthiness that tend to really dry out the hands and make them cracked, and the cuticles and the thumbs, and is there anything that you can do, and can you name it something like Potter's Blend? And so I had been already experimenting with peppermint and lavender in just plain oil, jojoba and almond oil on my own skin. So if someone's really, really, really dry, you just want to put on straight oil and let it soak in, and then when your skin is just a little moist, not totally dry, and that will help overcome the most dry of situations. But I was experimenting with it already, and I really enjoyed the peppermint oil, which I got from True Nature, which is right down the street in Carbondale. So it was nice to be able to support them and their business, but it's also wild crafted and supposedly has a higher energy, higher vibrancy, or vibration. So I wanted to use that, and so I started off with the peppermint cream, and it really, I had some itchy skin, some rashy skin, and it soothed it immediately. And so I also have thought about calling this formula Simply Soothing, because it happens that quickly. And then as time has gone on, I've added rose and bergamot, mostly because a friend of mine liked those scents, but also the rose has over 300 constituencies to it. It helps with toning, it helps with wrinkles, it's uplifting, it's calming, it promotes restful sleep. The bergamot does too, and the two together they really help. You can put it on your face. This one you can put it on. I wouldn't put it on, slather it on, but on spots, because it has antimicrobial again, so it helps fight any infection that you might have on your face or bacteria on your face. So as I've looked into and used these formulas, I find the double and triple duty that they do. And the rose bergamot smells very nicely, and the peppermint, you can use that on acne as well, on your face. It's stimulant. It's cooling, but in that it soothes itching and rashes and minor hives and bites and that sort of thing. It's combined with lavender, which is anti-inflammatory, and frankincense, where you can have frankincense and it can build your immunity. But so the peppermint I discovered is good for digestion. It's warming, even though it's supposed to be soothing, and it is soothing for itching. It's warming, and it increases the circulation in your skin and in the functions of your body. And so I put it on my tummy at night, and it helps digestion. And then I put it on my the nerve endings on my back. All the nerve endings to all the parts of your body are located right in your spine, and you can put it on, and it not only does it smell and it kind of picks you up, and it's kind of like a revival, but it also stimulates those nerve endings so that your body can do what it's meant to do, which is it's not meant to be in a sick state, it's meant to be in a healthy state. And it will always do what it can to self-correct. And so the peppermint has been lovely. It does help with dryness, but it also helps with those things that I just mentioned, as well as if I feel a cramp coming on in my calf, I am going to first put some pressure on that to see if the pressure helps relieve the cramping or the building up. If that doesn't work, I put that peppermint cream on, and it really warms up the muscle, loosens the muscle, takes the spasm out of the muscle, and it relaxes. And it's wow. And if I have a pain in my hip, because I'm a long-distance runner or used to be a long-distance runner, that's where my weak spot is, I put some on there. And it might not, it's not a huge concentration, but you don't need a huge concentration. So if it's, I would say if you have arthritis, you might need to do a host of modalities. But if it's a minor thing that you feel coming on, and you can change your diet to help it, like not eat too much gluten, something that's overly acidic. And so while you're trying to get over the hump, you put a little bit of the cream on, and it does nicely.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just put some on my back. It's calmed down.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
It was spasming before.
It's remarkable.
Yeah, it really does help.
Yeah.
Can you share a little bit more about frankincense? That's a big one that helps a lot, doesn't it?
Frankincense, yes. It's toning. It's anti-inflammatory. It's a resin from a tree, and similar to sandalwood, but there's something about it, and it comes in 3 different kinds. There's the sacra, which is Boswellia sacra, which will come from Somalia or Oman. And it is more for cosmetic applications. It helps tone the skin, helps with some of the sagginess, and it helps with some of the fine wrinkles around the eyes. Then there's, and I may not get this correct, but there's a ferrata, and that is more healing. Some people will actually ingest that, and I'm not suggesting that people just go ahead and ingest these things. Do your homework, see if it's right for you, patch test. I find that it has helped with my immunity, and so I have used that. I was going to buy it for the cosmetic, and it just wasn't quite the right pine content that it's called apinine. It wasn't quite that the strength that I wanted. So I started using it in another way, and it's been helpful. And then there is the serrata, and I'm not as familiar with the serrata. But these oils, they're anti-inflammatory, they are toning, they are calming because of their scent, they are detoxifying, they help with infections, inflammation, so many aspects. I was going to ask you if I could carry notes because it's really it's a lot to know about.
How do you know if you should be ingesting them or putting them on your body or infusing them in a diffuser?
That's a good question.
Can they all be used for all of those purposes?
I imagine they can be. Again,
sometimes ingesting might not be so wise. Is that what you're saying?
No, exactly. And because they're they have a lot of constituents, and if you overuse it, do you remember when you first got to high altitude and you could last 5 minutes? You had to acclimate to it. You had to really increase your water, and you had to really not have as much alcohol and coffee, because your body is not used to it.
Right.
And so so if you use too much too soon, you could really, I think, do more harm than good. And so I've been referring to the Tisserand Institute. It will kind of point out what you can ingest and what you can't. I've ingested, and Living Oils has some, they call their Vitality line, but they're essentially the same line as what they do in their for their cosmetic lines. And so I've had orange, and because it's vitamin C. It is a detoxifier. It helps with digestion, and it helps with overall immunity support. So I had that. But some you just don't want to ingest. And for example, oregano oil, far too strong to ingest more than a couple of drops at a time.
Yeah, oregano oil I was prescribed because I had a mold condition, or to fight candida or mold.
Yes,
it
yes.
can be helpful.
Yes, absolutely.
But it's potent.
It's very potent. And then when you put it in 4 ounces of water, your eyes will...
Yeah, no, I'm not that brave. I take a capsule.
Yes.
Well, we are almost out of time. Are there any final thoughts you want to share?
That's amazing. That went by so fast. Well, these products are basically, basic, clean. They're gluten-free, cruelty-free, vegan, sulfate-free, and they're pH balanced. Their essential oils are wondrous substances. Respect them, just like you would respect any other thing that you in your body, and they're helping me help others. I could go way off and do all these other kinds of formulas, but I have to come back around to why I started in the first place, and that was to build and reinforce community through connection. And I can be helping with the self-esteem side of things. I can be helping with the engagement side of things, and that's why I started and have had
I love it.
These products.
Thank you for that beautiful purpose, and
thank you for letting me share that.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Yeah,
they're gorgeous products. I'm very happy for you.
Thank you.
And that's it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, you can check out Aspen Talks Health. I will put up all of Pura Simple's contact, the website, and Kathy's information. And I'm very grateful you guys tuned in. Thank you so much.